You know, every single day, I am inundated by stories from local news agencies across the country. Sometimes you send me them, sometimes my brother delivers them to me, sometimes even my lady, my fiance, will forward me over some of these insane and wacky stories. But today's story really gets under my skin. Today's story really pisses me off because it really makes me think about how the left-wing media, the online left in particular, have dedicated themselves to portraying thieves as kind-hearted Aladdins, falling on desperate times, and they're just stealing from corporations. And by the way, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but corporations have insurance. And I don't know if you know about insurance, but insurance is basically magic money that nobody has to pay, that descends from the sky to solve each and every person's problems, and there's no consequences like higher premiums, there's no such thing as a denied claim, and honestly, once the insurance brokers come to town, everybody cheers because insurance not only restores you to exactly where you were before each and every time without fail, but in fact, you're better off with insurance. So honestly, the thieves must be helping us. Now, obviously, this is ridiculous. Obviously, this is absurd. Obviously, these thieves are the dregs of our society, and not only do they destroy entire communities, but they don't care about who they harm with their thefts. Today, we're going to talk about a story out of Los Angeles, or it comes from KTLA, so maybe it's not particularly from Los Angeles. I think it's from Beverly Hills. Distinction without a difference to many of you, where two women broke into a place that sells wigs and or weaves, depending on your cultural connotation. However, these are unique in that these come from donated hair, and they're intended for people who lost their hair due to cancer. And they stole all of these anyway. $200,000 worth of wigs being made for cancer patients being ripped off by 2 to 3 women. Now we're going to get into this. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to show you the video. I'm going to show you who these criminals actually are. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you to everybody who signed up. actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
And thank you to the podcast listeners, Spotify, Apple, and Google's podcasting platform.
Yeah, Sam and Pedro, it is really sad, right? We see these boarded up buildings here in Southern California. We know exactly what it means. Another middle of the night smash and grab burglary.
So the opening of this story is actually pretty sad, even though it's glossed over by this local news reporter. She says, when you see boarded up windows like this in Southern California, we all know exactly what that means. It means that there was a smash and grab robbery that happened in the middle of the night. But the way that she says it, and by the way, this is reflective of the reality of Southern California, is as if it is normal. And the reason she says it that way is because this has been normalized in the state of California. Now, I recently praised Karen Bass for targeting organized retail thieves with her task force and trying to hold Gascon accountable, but it is undeniable that since the Black Lives Matter riots, since a bunch of implementations of soft on crime policies, these thefts have become more and more common in many places across the country, and specifically in left-wing cities like the city of Los Angeles. However, like I said, this story has an even more tragic element.
But this time, you're right. It's not just the business that's affected, it's the cancer patients that they serve.
Because they're robbing indirectly, they're technically taking from the store, but the customer base of that store is cancer patients. They're taking wigs from cancer patients.
Everything was shattered.
With an alarm blaring and police on the way.
The glass was everywhere. They used like 2 long metals to break in.
Burglars ransacked a Beverly Hills wig shop.
So as you can see, these two individuals, I'm pretty sure they are women, chuck a big metal pole through the window. They smash it up, again destroying the display in Beverly Hills, a place that makes wigs. I'll say it a million times in this video, for cancer patients, and they ransack the place. They grab everything. Now, I know we've seen civil rights protesters, very peaceful civil rights protesters, talk about how we need our weaves.
Burning down ain't gonna help nothing. Y'all burning down we need in our community. Take that to the suburbs. Burn that down. We need our We need our weed.
So this might confuse you. You might think this is some kind of civil disobedience based on mainstream media propaganda that was put forward over the course of years. But make no mistake, these people, these individuals are acting in a thuggish, brutish way, and they are robbing cancer patients. Again, these wigs are made from human hair. They're meant to make people, specifically women who lose their hair due to chemotherapy, feel feminine again. And these people are taking that away for a quick buck. Now, I know many of you might think they might be feeding that hair, that human hair-based wig, to their starving children. That actually might be Aladdin, and but for Aladdin's interaction with the genie, we would have seen him in the Disney movie doing this very same thing to cancer patients across the state of California. But I assure you, these people are brutish thugs, they're criminals, they have no care for society, they did this for personal enrichment, and by the way, it's not their first time. This smash and grab robbery may look brutish on its surface, but make no mistake, when you get in and clear out that much merchandise that quickly, this is a well-planned and executed robbery. Now, fortunately, all we have to do is look for the women with the flashy wigs going forward in some part of California, and we will find these perpetrators. It shouldn't be that hard, but prosecuting these people needs to be an absolute necessity. Again, over $200,000 in these wigs, these very nice wigs that are made for cancer patients, all so that they could either look good or make a profit off of it. These people are the scum of society, and the business owner, the business itself, is the one that is actually caring for people in society. Make no mistake about it.
70 custom human hair wigs worth almost $200,000 stolen from the wig ferry on La Cienega in Beverly Hills.
It's not even the value of them, just like, I don't know, it belongs to someone.
Mona Zerger has been in business for 6 years, and she's alarmed by increasing crime in the neighborhood, but never imagined her small shop would be targeted by thieves.
Look, I'm trying not to be angry. I'm trying to be a good guy. I'm trying to put a smile on my face for all you guys out there in the audience. But the thing is, even though this was said by the local news segment and it might have been a misquote or a paraphrase, this kind of attitude that you don't believe it happens to small businesses or small shops is insanely stupid. You only get this perspective if your only contact with this retail theft is looking at those very viral videos that happen to go on when there happens to be a mall. But in reality, in actuality, these small shops are hit probably disproportionately harder than these major stores. These flash mob robberies happen there as well. These break-ins in the middle of the night also happen at these stores.
We see the malls that it's happening, like we can't even take our children to the mall anymore these days. We can't go shopping to the mall. So when something like this happened, I was like, I couldn't believe it.
There's a reason that all these small businesses on Main Street, not in a strip mall, not in a mega mall, are also going out of business. There's a reason that we've done story after story of anything, including ice cream shops where people dig their dirty hands into the product, spoiling tens of thousands of dollars worth of ice cream, even though they're just trying to steal a little bit of money out of the register intentionally. They just decided to ruin stuff based on the fact that they act like animals. This is happening everywhere, every store, all the time. And the reason why is because you don't get prosecuted for this. Remember, I did the story of the guy who got convicted on 77 felonies for burglarizing businesses. The snake guy, the supervillain, that guy in particular. Well, go look closely at the businesses that this guy was breaking into. It's restaurants, it's small businesses, it's pop-up shops. It's all of these things that are not your mega malls and not your Nordstroms, that don't require 30 people to join up in order to loot the place, that are being hit and they're being devastated. And unlike those places, they don't have the economies of scale in order to compensate with it. You are not safe because you're not operating in a mall. You are not safe because you're operating a store in a nice neighborhood. When they decide that they're not going to put violent repeat offenders or just repeat offenders, who by the way will become violent in the future, in prison, like California state law says, and they decide they have to shift them to county jail, the county jails get overcrowded, so so then they just get dumped back onto the streets. This is what you can expect in every part of California, especially Southern California, where you combine that with a woke district attorney who's not interested in prosecuting anyone. They robbed cancer patients. Can we get some serious charges? Can you go to prison for doing that? If anything in our society should indicate on whether or not we care for our sick, whether or not we care for the vulnerable, it should not be catering to these criminals. It should be catering to the sick, to women who just want to feel feminine after chemotherapy, but we can't even do that.
Most of the wigs were meant for cancer and alopecia patients. Most clients had been waiting weeks for their custom wigs.
We had to call the clients one by one. We have a lot of children that we work with. We have elderly women. It's heartbreaking because a lot of them are going through treatment.
Maybe this will help personalize what we're talking about here, because I know a lot of people on the left are saying it's just property. I know a lot of people on the left are saying, you know what, those poor women that are stealing all those weaves, they're just Aladdin. But this store also customizes the wigs so that they look more realistic. They have a bunch of cancer patients. Alopecia is just baldness, so I'm not concerned about Jada Pinkett Smith, if I'm being perfectly honest. But children with cancer can't have a little bit of hair. People donated this hair to this place in order for them to get the custom wigs, and you can't allow that to happen. You have to smash it up, and I'm supposed to feel bad for the criminals because you know what? This place is in Beverly Hills, and those cancer kids were a little too privileged in who their parents were because they're shopping at this place. I mean, they should just suck it up because even though they have cancer, they probably have white privilege. Shut up. Shut your face. These people are monsters. These people are dregs on our society. These people obliterated and robbed custom wigs that were already in the process of being tailored for cancer patients, and we should treat them with all of the disgust, disregard, and shaming that they deserve.
I'm planning to have it ready by today.
So today, stylists are working overtime to cut, shape, and color, crafting wigs to help customers regain their self-confidence.
Look, I like that the people at the store are trying to work double time in order to get these out there on time. It is really tragic to call somebody, again, who's concerned about whether or not they're going to die from cancer, going through chemotherapy, feeling incredibly weak, and all the things that go along with that, and tell them that the thing that's going to make them look normal, that might make them feel better on a psychological level, was ripped off by thugs, criminals who just decided that their own personal entitlement took precedence over what was being worked on and crafted for those patients. But yeah, it's nice that they're doing it and trying to make it right for those people. They're trying to help them. They're trying to make sure they get their product on time. But this is not the way that it should be. And when these people are caught, their faces should be plastered all over the news. They should be named and shamed. We should find out who their parents were, shame them a little bit too. If they have kids, we should find them at school, wag our finger at them, tell them that their mothers are bad people, because this is the way that it should be. Maybe that last part a little bit too extreme. Maybe they'll just get shamed by their mom appearing on the local news. But yeah, if you have any information about this, you definitely should turn these people in. If you see this video, if you see these patients without their wigs that they actually paid for, then you're scum if you don't do anything. If you think that these are the innocent victims, these women ripping off the place, showing complete and utter disregard for the product while they're doing it for a quick buck, are the real victims, then you need to get your head examined. You have problems, and believe me, a wig is not going to fix your issues. But hey, those are just my thoughts. They happen to be 100% right. Like, I don't emphasize this enough, but I'm right about everything. If you disagree with me, let me know your wrong opinion down in the comments below. If you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on all my social media, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about an absolutely devastating crime. Till next time.